Alright, so before starting this episode, I just want to thank each and every single one of you that considered subscribing to FPL First. We've now hit the 100 mark and we're nearly close to the 200 mark. I only started the channel recently, so I wasn't sure how quickly the channel would grow, but with all of your amazing comments, likes and views, it's been growing at a really good rate, and I hope to be able to continue this in the near future too. Obviously, if this is your first time watching an episode on FPL First, why not try watching the episode, see what you think. If you like my content, think about subscribing. I'll be doing weekly uploads, one preview of the EPL, one review of the EPL, and also one midweek where I'll do a player focus on the FPL of the coming week. If you're not a newcomer and this is your second, third or whatever time of an FPL episode, thanks very much for coming back, and I hope to see all your comments in the future and interact and get the FPL community growing and growing. Anyway guys, once again, thanks so much for all of your support, and here, bring on the next milestone of 1,000 subscribers. Okay, let's jump straight into today's episode. First of all, taking a look at Gameweek 3's Dream Team, you can see that it was a fairly low averaging week for most people, considering Lozo, Vieto, Mitrovic and Seri are all coming from teams not expected to do well this season and therefore not pick up many points in the FPL. Only two players are in this team that have been familiar faces in recent FPL seasons, being Alonso and Kane, so therefore this was a week whereby most of the big guns were not firing. Going into Game Week 4, it can be expected Kane, Trippier, Alonso and Moura all have the potential to bring in a good number of points next week. However, the rest of the players may not be a wise transfer move if you are thinking of more long-term transfers. Fulham and Spurs, both three players in the Dream Team each this week, and that is no more than what they deserve after both of them emphatically beat their oppositions in Game Week 3. In order to help me decide on my captain pick this week, in which I will make a decision on personally in tomorrow's episode of the EPL Round 4 preview, I have created the player face-off between Sergio Aguero and Mohamed Salah. Sergio Aguero's value has been steadily increasing in the last couple of game weeks, with his popularity growing in FPL team picks. With 3 goals in 3 games, Aguero is looking to his usual best and is not short of opportunities too, having 6 shots on target and 11 inside the box. With 4 easy fixtures coming up for Man City, he surely should be in your FPL team at least. However, as a captain choice, it's difficult to judge when you have a man like Salah in your team. Liverpool soon go on a fixture run whereby they will meet no less than 3 top 6 sides, and therefore many people will be worrying about having Salah in their team. But consider this. Last season, Liverpool managed to score 16 goals against the top 6 sides, and with Salah almost matching Aguero for stats, the Egyptian is surely to find the net many times in the coming weeks. However, as it stands, I believe Leicester away is slightly tougher than Newcastle at home, so I am personally thinking more towards Aguero. Check back to tomorrow's episode to find out my final decision. So, after Richarlison getting sent off for a headbutt, he has also left many FPL fans with a headache of their own too. So therefore, I've suggested 2 players that can replace him. Let's begin with my first choice, Theo Walcott. With 2 goals in his last 2 games, Walcott has been making the most of his few chances in Game Week 2 and 3, with him only having 1 shot and scoring with it in Game Week 3. This will please Everton, especially considering he was known for having many chances and not finishing at Arsenal, so something he has clearly been working on in these days. Also, with fixtures against Huddersfield and West Ham at home, if Everton are able to finish with 10 men on the pitch and keep their discipline, these will surely be home games that are a must-win. Furthermore, with an away trip in 3 weeks' time, he might be looking to prove a point against his old team Arsenal, who are looking vulnerable at the back at present. The second option who could replace Richarlison is Lucas Moura, who now has 3 goals in 2 games and getting a lot of starting time due to Son's absence. With South Korea yesterday going to the final of the Asian Cup, it means that Son is still going to be on absence with his native South Korea for the foreseeable future. Lucas Moura having 4 shots in the last 2 games, he is not short of opportunities for a midfielder. However, with Watford away and Liverpool at home in the next 2 fixtures, it could start to get a bit trickier for Spurs. After that though, they have 4 winnable games and therefore a very good option for your midfield, especially when considering his price tag of only 7.1. For me, he's a player I'll be looking out for, however I will not be transferring him myself personally, but he could be a good option for your fantasy team. Next I want to talk about a player who has not had much attention in the FPL community, especially on Twitter or on other YouTube channels that I have seen. Considering he started off the bench in his first 2 games and only had his first full appearance on the weekend against Newcastle, Hazard has had some impressive stats already. In Gameweek 2 against Arsenal, he came on with 15 minutes to go and changed the game with an assist and 2 shots. Going into Gameweek 3, he returned with a goal and no less than 5 shots, 2 being within the penalty area. With 3 easy fixtures coming up, you have to think it will be Hazard in the thick of the action, and with Aubameyang not playing well, it was a straight up swap for me in terms of price, and he is now in my team. Also, with Chelsea playing attacking and expansive football under Sarri, it is clear Chelsea will allow Hazard a lot of opportunities in the final third of the pitch. In my opinion, therefore, Hazard is going to continue to get a lot of shots on goal and has a very good opportunity of getting assists or goals, and especially with someone like Alonso playing with him, who is creating a lot of chances for the Chelsea team at present, he is definitely an option you should consider if you're willing to take out another big player. And coming on to my last player focus, this is Kieran Trippier. He has now been in the Dream Team 2 weeks running for returning a goal last week and an assist in the last 2 games. He has now cemented his place as the set-piece taker in the team, and it looks like he could be set to return many points for FPL managers who have him in their team. With 1 goal and an assist, including a clean sheet against Man United, he looks an important part of the Spurs team, and looks like a player who's taking his form from the World Cup with England into the season's EPL. Outside of Liverpool, Spurs' next 6 games look very winnable before they face the formidable task of Man City at home in 7 weeks' time. However, you could put him in your team and potentially get a lot of assists or points from him taking the free kick, so therefore I definitely recommend him as a player you at least watch out for or putting in if you have another defender you want to take out. Lastly, a quick mention about these next 3 players. Firstly, winger come defender Wan-Bissaka is back from suspension, and with a home game against Southampton likely to pick up some good points and possibly a clean sheet. If you had him on your bench, then he should potentially start for you this game week, and if you want him, he is still only priced at 4.1. Next is this week's top scoring player Mitrovic. You should keep an eye on this player, however with Fulham's side still getting to grips with a newly looking team and still only just being promoted, it could be a 1 week wonder for him. I am personally still not convinced enough to select him for my team. Lastly is the possible inclusion of Wilson at Bournemouth. With 13 shots inside the box, he is ahead of any other player including Salah and Aguero, so for just 6.2 million, he could be a low budget striker for your FPL team. But consider Bournemouth have Chelsea away at the weekend as well as Leicester the week after. So after those 2 games, I would potentially say that he could be a good pick for your team, as Bournemouth have 4 kind fixtures. However, for now, he's not a player that I'm going to select. Alright, so this is the point where I'm going to talk about the main kind of attraction, I guess, from my title. And this is the possibility of a FPL game mode, which I feel could be included in the future. This could be like a week whereby you have to select players who fit a certain criteria. This week, I will explore an under 24 only team, a suggestion by a viewer in the comments last week. We currently have triple captain, wildcards and drafts among other various game modes to keep FPL interesting. However, what about a week whereby you select the best under 24 team for that game week, and imagine you get points based on your ranking that week rather than the individual player scores. So if you're in the top 1000, let's say, you get 80 points, and then it decreases as your ranking obviously drops down lower. It could be a fresh idea for the FPL team to think about in order to keep players hooked on FPL for the whole season. So this could potentially be something that you do like mid-season or coming towards like the final third or something like that. Anyway, here is my team. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below if you think it's a good team selection of under 24 players. I have double checked to make sure they are definitely under the age of 24 or 24 years old. Put in the comment section if you disagree with any of my selection and the player that you would potentially swap them with who is under 24 years old. So that about wraps up the end of this episode for today, and look out for my EPL Round 4 review that I will be uploading tomorrow at some point. Thanks for watching till now, and obviously if you're new around here, consider subscribing to the channel for future content being released on a weekly basis, and thumbs up to let me know you enjoyed the content. My link for Twitter is below in the description, so please be sure to follow to keep the conversation going outside of YouTube, and to also let you know when my future videos are dropped. Once again, a massive thank you to everyone who's considered subscribing to FPL up to now. From me, Joe, this has been FPL First.